and Dilip Padgaonkar, consulting editor at Times of India, joins us right now on the show. Dilip, hi, morning. What is your sense as Phase 8 begins now? Can the NDA get close to 275 as predicted by popular opinion right now?
Look, Sami, you can speculate until the cows come home, but the fact is that this is in many respects the most crucial phase of the elections, primarily because the focus is on UP and in Bihar, and these two states together sell very closely what is going to happen in these two states. But of course the other states which have again a huge number of candidates include Andhra Pradesh, and that again is something we look forward to. If you like, my assessment at this moment is as follows. I think in the constituencies where polling is to be held today, the Congress, I think, is certainly going to face a severe setback. The BJP's overall vote share looks like going up pretty dramatically in some places, though how much that translates into the number of seats one doesn't know. However, it is the regional formations that are likely to make a headway in this phase. I refer in particular to the BSP in Uttar Pradesh, to the RJD in Bihar, and of course to the TDP and to the YSR Congress in Andhra Pradesh. I mean, these are the areas where I think the regional parties are likely to do pretty well. Now, how that transforms the big picture is difficult to say, but if I do have to stick my neck out, I would say that it is not likely that the NDA will cross the halfway mark.
That's a big claim, isn't it? What is, in a sense, what is fueling your opinion that NDA will struggle to cross the halfway mark?
Well, if you do a comparison with what happened in the last polls, you would find that in Uttar Pradesh alone, for the BJP to move on from roughly 10 seats to 50 seats is a huge jump. And the fact that in the past 4 days, Mr. Modi, who has been harping quite correctly on issues of development and governance, has suddenly started speaking the language of caste. And this to me is an acknowledgement that he knows that the narrative of development and the narrative of good governance has been overshadowed by caste considerations, and I think Mayawati's impromptu press conference yesterday showed that. So in the seats going to the polls today, I think the caste factor is going to be extremely important, and when that becomes important, the BJP begins to look shaky. Though, let me hasten to add, the BJP has been encroaching on Mayawati's turf with some success in certain Dalit castes in the past few months. So my hunch is that this poll is going to be crucial, and it will determine whether from UP and Bihar in particular the BJP is going to make massive gains from the gains that it had last time. Let's not forget that in Bihar last time the BJP had just one seat while the JDU had 4. They were together at that time. So from 5 seats to move on to 20 plus is a tough call. And again, to move in from what they had earlier in 2009 to a whopping 50, that seems a bit ambitious. But one never knows. All I can say is that the more you move eastwards and the more you move southwards, the Modi wave turns a little bit not into a hurricane as is predicted, but rather it loses its momentum. That's the way I look at it at the moment. But obviously we shall also see in the course of the day what the voter turnout is going to be. That could reflect a little bit the sentiment on the ground, and perhaps we can be a little more nuanced as the day goes by.
What is your sense about the 15 seats in Uttar Pradesh? Because they're going to be extremely crucial for Congress and Modi's fate.
Well, listen, the thing is that in Amethi, Smriti Irani has put up a big fight. I think the fact that Modi came and spoke in that constituency going against all past conventions shows that it's going to be a very tight race. I think the Aam Aadmi Party simply won't make much of an impact in Amethi. The battle is essentially between Rahul Gandhi and Smriti Irani. But my feeling is that Modi's speech in Amethi might influence certain number of voters in the adjacent constituencies, especially in Sultanpur, where Varun Gandhi seems to have made quite a headway.
What about Varanasi? Interesting battle there. I know that constituency will be Arvind Kejriwal on one side and Narendra Modi on the other side.
Well, one of the things is that the Congress candidate has been more or less eclipsed in this race, and the fact that you've got everyone from the JDU to the Jamaat people backing Arvind Kejriwal will show that Kejriwal will put up a tough fight, and the best he can hope for is perhaps not a victory, but to narrow the margin of Narendra Modi's victory. That he might be able to achieve, but he will have sent out a good message, namely that the Aam Aadmi Party is going to be always the number 2 in critical areas, at least in the north. So I think that message Arvind Kejriwal might send. He is going to put up a tough fight, but I don't think the Congress's candidate Rai is going to make much of a headway in these elections.
Dilip, the hallmark of this year's election has been higher voter turnout. Now, enough and more has been debated. How should one read into the high voter turnout? What is your understanding? Is higher voter turnout an indication that incumbent will struggle?
Well, both the theories have been making the rounds, and I find some merit in those theories which say that higher voter turnout is a vote, an anti-incumbency vote. But I can give you cases where this is not true, where a high voter turnout has allowed those state governments which have performed well to be voted back in power. So it's, I think, a bit hazardous to interpret a high voter turnout. All I'd say is that the high voter turnout has been largely true of many semi-rural and rural constituencies. However, even there, with a couple of exceptions, the overall voter turnout has been quite impressive, and it shouldn't come to us as a surprise at all if these general elections register the highest voter turnout ever. And that is not just because the elections have been so sharply polarized, but also because you've got 100 million new young voters coming into the fray. And if you take a look at the queues in front of polling booths, you would see a very large number of young people casting their vote. So I think that certainly is going to make a difference to parties who have managed to connect with the youth vote and those who haven't. But there again, let me repeat, there are parts of the country where, alas, identity politics, whether it is in religious terms or caste terms, is still the pivotal role that they have played in the past.
Final question then, what about Congress? If Congress indeed gets the lowest tally ever, and if the tally for Congress is, let's say, in double digit, will that threat or will that prove to be a big threat to the Gandhi leadership?
I don't think so. This is this is not the first time that the Congress will have faced a defeat. This is likely to be the most severe setback that it could receive. But there have been instances in the past where the Congress has failed miserably. The Congress has also split in the past. That again is something that could very well happen should the Congress tally go below 100. But I simply don't see the Gandhi's family's grip on this party being loosened. I think the brother and sister duo will become far more active after the elections than they've been so far. And I think the loyalists who owe their entire careers to the family will stick on, while some others might seek other pastures.